Hello and welcome. So today I'm going to go over the ENFP 4 sides of their personality. On the left-hand side, I have all 8 functions. You guys can reference it if you're unfamiliar with the functions or you simply forgot what each one stands for. But I will be going over all 4 sides of their personality, breaking down all of their function stacks, going into detail on who these people are. So every person has 4 sides of their personality. We have the ENFP, which is their ego. It's their baseline. It's basically who these people are. Then we have the ESTP, which is their super ego. It's what they're going to front as when you meet these people for the first time. It's got to be kind of like how they come off in reality. They're presenting something, performing something. It's got to be kind of how they present themselves to new people. And then when the ENFP is struggling and they can't figure out an answer to the problem, they're super stressed, they just don't know what to do, they're going to shift down into their INFJ personality, which is their shadow state. And then when these people are super comfortable, they're in a flow state, they really understand the situation, they're not necessarily overwhelmed, they're just in a comfortable state of mind, they're going to show their ISTJ side. It's going to be their subconscious, it's always within them, but only certain people are going to see this side. And then at the bottom of the screen, I have some tips and reminders. These individuals are TI weak. They're always going to be leading with how they feel. They're not necessarily going to share their framework with reality at any given time. They're going to be going more off of their morals and values than what they actually think and understand about a situation. And then they're SI weak. As in any Dom, they're considering all of the possibilities. They're going in every direction within the conversation, and they're not necessarily prioritizing what are you supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be saying? What subject am I supposed to be staying on topic with? They're kind of weak in that function. So these individuals are not living off of the rule book and reality. They're going their own way. They're creating all of these new ideas, and they do not care if that's what you're supposed to do or not. The main loop that they get stuck in is NETE. When they get all of these ideas, they're going to immediately want to take action on them because they just feel like they should be doing these things. Is it the most logical thing to do in the situation? No. Is it the most practical thing to do in the situation? No. Are all of these passion projects actually realistic in reality? Probably not. But they're not necessarily considering all of those things. They're just stuck in this loop of NETE. Whatever idea pops in their brain, they're going to want to take action on it today, tomorrow, immediately. So ENFPs are about 5% of the population. You're going to have a decent amount of them in your classroom. You might have a couple in your family tree. So they're not necessarily super popular, but they're also not necessarily super rare. But more often than not, you're going to have an ENFP in your contact list. So let's begin with their ego, shall we? They're led with NE, which means they're perceiving this world considering all of the possibilities. They're connecting all of the dots. They're coming to all of these conclusions. They're thinking of all of these new ideas to take action on in reality. Is it the thing you're supposed to be doing in this moment in time? Probably not. They're not necessarily staying on topic. When they're communicating, they're ranting and rambling and taking tangents in so many different directions that you might be confused more often than not when you're listening to the ENFP, but they're going to reassure you, just be like, be patient. I will get to the point. It's all going to connect at the end. Just believe in me. I really believe in what I'm saying. I really feel like this is the right thing to be talking about right now. So just give me some time and I'll get to the point. Will their NE frustrate a lot of people? Yeah, because it's going against the grain. You're not staying on topic. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. And you're kind of standing out in reality. So depending on your personality, you might mesh or you might clash with the ENFP because they're doing their own thing. They have a lot of topics that they're interested in, that they're passionate about, that they're fascinated with, that they're trying to understand. There's a lot of things that interest the ENFP, and it's not always the mainstream topics or what's trending at that time, and they're going to do their own thing in this world because they're considering all of the what ifs within every situation and scenario that they're in. And they're communicating with what feels right to them, their morals and values, what is authentic to this individual. Whatever they believe in, whatever they're passionate about, that's what they're going to say. That's how they're going to communicate. They're going to validate other people's values. They're not going to try to ruin each other's vibes. They're not going to trample on each other's ideas. They're going to be able to listen to other people's ideas and validate them. So these individuals are more often than not really nice people because they respect each other. They respect the people that are staying in their own lane. Do they want to stand next to you at all given times? Sometimes, but more often than not, they don't mind going their own way. They don't mind standing out. As extroverts, they want to be a part of this reality. They want to be be a part of multiple different communities. They want to be a part of multiple different projects at any given time. These individuals have multiple tabs open within their brain, and they have multiple subjects that they can pull from at any given time. These individuals are quite good at adapting to whatever situation that they're in. Whatever types of people that they're put with on a group project, they're going to be able to get along. They're going to be able to understand where all these people are coming from. Will they always agree with them? No. Do they care about your social standing and your current status? Absolutely not. That is not what these people are valuing. They're valuing uniqueness. They're valuing good ideas. They're valuing the fact that you're listening to them, let them get all of their ideas out, and try to communicate what values to this ENFP. Like I said in the very beginning, their main loop is NETE. So since they have so many tabs open, since they have so many passion projects that they want to start on, they're a little bit impatient with accomplishing them all. They're not necessarily sure on how to take it step by step, but they understand they want to do it. They understand this is an objective thing I want to accomplish. This is something that's on my to-do list that I want to get done today, and they're going to be a little bit impatient accomplishing their goals. They might struggle with where to actually start. They might struggle with like, okay, what is step one in all of these passion projects that I need to get done today? They're definitely going to struggle because they're thinking of all of these things. They're going to be disconnected. They're not necessarily going to be on the same subject. They're not necessarily going in the same direction, and therefore they're going to struggle with, okay, what should I do right now? Even though they're very, very passionate about starting all of these things, they might not actually get into phase one of accomplishing any of these goals simply because they struggle with like, where do I actually start? The daunting aspect of beginning a new project might actually turn them off, and they might just be like, you know what? I feel like that's not worth it. I feel like that's going to be too complicated. What other NETE thing can I think up and, maybe start today? What's going to be a little bit easier for me to tackle and accomplish and cross off my list sooner rather than later? The ENFP personality is going to be in a lot of different friend groups. They're going to be in a lot of different clubs and schools. They're going to be involved in a lot of different extracurriculars. They're going to spend their time volunteering and giving back to their community in a lot of different aspects. It could be religious. It could be animal rescues. It could be nonprofits. They value individuality. They value a lot of different belief systems. They value the right to have your own individual belief system, to have your own values, to be your authentic self, and they want to support various different communities that are doing so. So these individuals have big, bold, loud, friendly, kind personalities, and therefore they're going to have a rather large community. Within those communities, those members might be a little bit confused. How does the ENFP get everything done? How are they constantly this busy? How are they constantly thinking up new projects to take on? And it's because their NETE loop kind of comes in clutch. Even though it's a pro in a lot of ways, it could be a con because these individuals might overwork themselves. They might burn themselves out. They might get overly stimulated trying to accomplish all of these things, helping all of these different people. And then they might be like, you know what? I haven't really done whatever feels right for me. I haven't been able to just sit alone with my thoughts and just vibe out and just relax, listen to my music. I'm always talking to new people. I'm always writing down more to-do lists for me to accomplish. They might be a little bit overwhelmed sometimes. So ENFP, if you feel like you're just doing the absolute most, more than your usual self, mind you, then to counteract that NETE loop is just to vibe out with what you're actually supposed to do. 3 days a week, you're always volunteering. 3 days a week, you're always going to club meetings. 3 days a week, you're always doing XYZ. Maybe cut down to 1 or 2 times a week and give more time for whatever feels right to you. What brings you happiness? What brings you comfort? What is something same old, same old? What is something familiar to you that makes you feel really good about yourself, about your situation, about your vibe, about your path, about who you are as a person on this planet? Make sure you're prioritizing yourself, even though you're constantly trying to create new friend groups, talk to more people, start new passion projects, volunteer at more places. You have great intentions, and that's something to be complimented over. That's something to be praised over. But remember to always give yourself some time back for yourself. Vibe out, stay comfortable, do the same old, because repeating some of the same old is just as important as what you're giving back to reality. What ideas you're sharing with everyone else. Make sure you're taking some time to journal. Make sure you're taking some time to start a new art project. Do whatever feels right for you. Listen to your favorite album on repeat from time to time. Make sure to take some time and just vibe out on what feels right for you. Now, with TI as your weak function, that does not mean you don't have a TI. It does not mean you don't have a framework of information on any given subject that you're passionate or interested interested in. It just means when you're communicating with this world, you're going to respond to people with, oh, but I feel like this. Oh, I feel like that's a great idea, but XYZ. Instead of saying, oh, I don't think that's going to work, you don't want to necessarily trample other people's passion projects. So you're not going to come at most conversations being super logical, trying to be like, I think, and lecture other people on what you think you're supposed to do in a situation. If they feel like doing XYZ, you respect their vibes. You feel like, okay, that's a great passion project to take. I don't necessarily want to do the same thing, but I feel like that's going to be great for you. Once you accomplish that, I want to support you. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help as a resource. But you're going to avoid kind of like mansplaining topics to people. You're just going to respect other people's interests and being like, yeah, that's great for you. That's fascinating work that you're trying to accomplish. Good on you, praising other people. And that's what you're going to focus on. Your FI, the vibe, your morals and values, how you feel about a situation, more than what if you think it's actually logically plausible in this reality. And then within their ego, the last function that they're considering is SE, meaning these individuals are not superficial people. They do not care about people's status, current standing, what they've accomplished in this world. They do not care about how you look, about your fashion, about your aesthetics. These individuals are very unique and they don't mind standing out. And therefore they don't really care about what's trending, what's aesthetic at this time. Whatever style that they want to vibe with that day is what they're going to be like. And what does that translate into? Them having a lot of friends from a lot of different social classes, from a lot of different standings and realities. It just means these people are going to attract and be attracted to a lot of variety of different people on this planet. And that also translates to they're not necessarily the most aware in their reality when they are communicating all of their any thoughts. Sometimes they don't have the right audience to listen to all of their ideas. They don't necessarily understand that these people are zoned out, focused on different things, and they honestly just simply do not care about what you're passionate about, ENFP. Not saying you're not using your eyes to look around, but you're not necessarily noticing all of the small little changes in reality that's kind of shifting the audience's attention to being interested to being confused or disinterested. They might be a little bit out of touch in reality. These individuals are idea generators. They're great with the fantasy. They're great with writing fiction. They're great with all of their storytelling ideas. So ENFPs, y'all are great people. Y'all are amazing personalities. You're very big, bold personalities, and you're going to have a lot of friends. But just be mindful and don't overwork yourself with your NETE loop. You're going to try to accomplish everything, and I understand you have great motivations, great intentions in mind, but don't burn yourself out, especially for the sake of others. It's great that you want to help. It's great that you want to complete all of these goals. It's great that you want to volunteer at all of these places, but take some time for yourself, chill out, vibe out, just enjoy life, do what feels right for you, do what you're supposed to do from time to time, and just enjoy reality. So overall, that is y'all's ego. That is who you guys are as people. But when you first meet an ENFP, they're not always going to immediately share all of their out-of-box ideas, share their morals and values. They're going to protect their personality, they're going to protect what's authentic to them, and they're going to kind of front as the ESTP. They're going to be more willing to share what they actually think in this situation because they're protecting their ego, they're protecting their authentic self, they're protecting the morals and values that mean something to them. So they're going to be more willing just to share their thoughts, share their frameworks of information, kind of getting to the point of a subject, telling people what they really think about rather than how they feel in a situation at any given time. So if you know an ENFP or if you're an ENFP, think back to when you first meet people. You're going to realize you're a little bit more grounded within the conversation talking points. You're going to realize you had an easier time staying on topic, sharing your thoughts, trying to fit in with the community, not trying to ruffle the feathers by confusing people with all of your crazy ideas. And you're fronting. You're just basically protecting your personality, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you're not going to be that way for long. Once you've introduced yourself to your coworker, once you've made a new friend and you've had a couple experiences under your belt, you're going to be way more willing to be like, you know, I have all of these ideas, I have all these different passions, let me tell you about them, let me explain them. So you will shift back into your ego, but when you first meet people, and you're going to kind of be a little bit more grounded, a little bit more realistic with your conversation points, and you're going to share your frameworks of information with people and protect your authentic self in the process. Now, ENFP, when you're struggling, you can't figure out an answer to a situation, you can't figure out an answer to a problem, you're super stressed, you're overworked, you just don't know what to do, your ego is going to shift into the last four, which is the INFJ personality stack. Because even though you have all of these ideas, you can't figure out an actual plan on where to take them. You can't figure out what path path to actually take. You're a little bit overwhelmed with all this NETE concepts that you want to accomplish, and even though they all feel right to you, you don't necessarily know, like, okay, how am I actually going to accomplish all of these things? Like, what is my actual plan? You're going to overwhelm yourself, and your personality is going to shift into your shadow state. As an NI Dom, they're more methodical. They're going to take things step by step. They're going to take a lot of time to review what has worked, what hasn't worked. They're going to overanalyze, like, okay, which path works best for me? Should I go in this direction? Should I go in this direction? They're going to be more willing to reach out to their community, ask for help, ask for feedback. Hey, what do you think about this? I have all of these ideas and I feel like all of them are right, but I don't know where to begin, how to start, where to actually take all of these ideas. I just know I feel all of these need to be accomplished, but I'm a little bit overwhelmed with like how to actually get all of this done. So you're going to reach out to your community members, your family, your friends, your coworkers at work, being like, look, I took on way too many projects at this time. I'm really confused with where to go. Do you have any information? Do you have any resources? Do you have any feedback for me that I can actually utilize to actually complete my passion projects? Because you want to shift back to your ego, but right now you're struggling. You're overwhelmed. You're overbooked. You just have too many people reaching out to you and you're like, okay, I don't know what to do first. And people are going to give you good feedback. They're going to tell you where to start. You're going to be able to figure out which path to take. What is my actual plan? You're going to take things a little bit slower. You're going to overanalyze. You're going to review all of your potential projects and you're kind of going to narrow down, like, this is practical, this isn't practical. I should do this before I should do that. And then you're going to come to a conclusion and be like, you know what? I actually know what to do. I have a plan now. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the information. I've reviewed everything. I kind of understand my objective on like, what do I actually want to do overall? And then you're going to shift back into your ego. But while you're in your shadow state, you're going to take things a little bit slower. You're going to kind of hold yourself away. You're going to decline social events. You're going to kind of be slower to respond to people's texts because you're kind of focused on your NITI, what you actually want to accomplish in this world. You're going to try to understand all of these different passion projects you're taking on. You're going to be more analytical. You're going to be more willing to review and understand and study these subjects rather than immediately just take action on them because they feel right in that moment in time. Your friends within your social groups are going to realize you don't really show up as much. You know, when you're sitting at the table, you're not as talkative. You're analyzing the situation, listening to everyone else communicate. And then when you get a moment in time, asking some questions because you want some feedback, but you're not going to necessarily, not saying any hogs the conversation from time to time, but you definitely don't normally waste any moment in time to speak up if you have something to say. If you have an idea to share, you kind of just spit it out. And when you're struggling, you're going to take things a little bit slower. You're going to be more methodical overall with your decisions and your actions. And when you do shift back to your ego and everything is going according to your plan that your shadow kind of just narrowed down and figured out, and you have all of these ideas, you're super passionate about them, you're actually taking action on all of these ideas, and things are going well, you're in a flow state of sorts, you're going to be more in your ISTJ personality because you're going to know your step-by-step decisions that you're supposed to take. You're going to go in order of the objective things to accomplish today instead of an idea popping in your brain and you being like, okay, let me push everything else to a side and start this project right now because I feel like, oh my God, this is the most exciting thing to me in this moment in time. You're going to be a more objective with your actions and doing it step by step on the order of actually how do I accomplish my goals? Because your INFJ, NI has to review the past. It has to review your past experiences, past conversations, and kind of review what worked, what didn't work. So now you understand the step by step of like, okay, this worked out well, this didn't work out well. I shouldn't be doing all of these things at any given time together. I need to be doing it one by one in order. And so when you're in a flow state, you have all these ideas, you solve the issue to your problem or your answer to your struggles, you're going to be more systematic accomplishing your goals. You're going to take things a little bit slower. Once you're in a flow state, you're going to kind of keep to yourself, stick to the subject at hand. You still feel good because this is what you actually wanted to do. This is the passion project you wanted to complete that day. And so you're just kind of vibing. You're in a flow state. You're just going step by step and accomplishing all of these things and you're getting stuff done. But not everyone is going to see that side of you. Your family might see you in, your room working hard on a subject. Your loved one, if you're dating someone, might see that you're super focused now on your plan and you're accomplishing your goals and you're completing your to-do list and they're going to see that. But to most people, you're going to show your out-of-the-box personality. You're going to be more willing to share all of your ideas that pop in your brain at any given time. You're not going to necessarily take things things slower, doing it step by step, you're going to just offload all of these ideas because it just felt right and you just feel like saying them. But ENFP, when you're in a flow state and you figured out a plan, you finished doing your little struggle bus situation that you had going on, but now you understand step by step, what should I actually be doing to accomplish my goals? You are a busy little bee. You can accomplish a lot. I know ENFPs can get overwhelmed easily, but figure out a long-term plan. Ask for feedback from your family and friends if you need help. A lot of people around you can give you really good resources, really good information. So even though a lot of people come to you for help and for guidance and for ideas, don't be shy to going to your friends and asking for some feedback, because they can give you a lot of objective frameworks of information on how to step-by-step accomplish your endless list of goals and ideas and passion projects. You want to do a lot in this world, and I think that's great, but only when you actually have a long-term plan are you going to actually be able to accomplish these things. So don't be shy asking your own community for help from time to time. They lean on you a lot, but there's nothing wrong with you leaning on them in return. So get into your flow state, accomplish all of your dreams, you're sticking with what feels right to you, you're being authentic to your true self, and you're accomplishing everything on your to-do list. So even though ENFP, you might feel like you have a lot going on, you're just overwhelmed with your own workload of information, that doesn't mean you can't accomplish whatever you set your sights on. You can do a lot, ENFP. You have a personality that can and will accomplish any goal that they actually set their mind to, but you need to form a plan first. Don't be afraid to ask your friends for some feedback, and sit with yourself, sit with all of your goals, and create a step-by-step plan on how to actually accomplish it. You will get it done. You are very productive when you're motivated and comfortable in a flow state, and you will stay authentic to your true self. So ENFP, I think you're great. I think you're an amazing personality type. I do hope this video helped give you some perspective on all different sides. Everyone, has an ego. We've seen you happy, but people have also seen you front and kind of put on a show with stranger danger, new people in your life. And then people have also seen you struggling. And certain people in your community and your friend groups have seen your very productive ISTJ state. You're just not going to show that side to everyone, because more often than not, you're just going to default to your NE domness, which that's who you are. That's who you're supposed to be, essentially, with your out-of-box thinking and ideas. So I hope this video provided some good perspective. If you're an ENFP, did this resonate with you? Let me know in the comments below, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.